kill it. So that's my fault. But I'm going to try to knock it out now. Now I have enough mana for Abolish. I'm going to try to reach it, but it's going to time out too soon. And hacks. But either way, now he's got Morts up in there, and you can see with his base build, I can't really do too much to him now at this point. I'll try to kill this farm, because why not? It'll be an easy kill. It's already weakened. But I'm not going to be able to do anything here. He's now coming after me, and I'm just going to have to back off, because I can't go up the ramp easily enough. My army's better, we'd win an open fight. I can't get up there. He could just pick on my Dryad with a Mortar. And so here we go. I should turn around right now and fight. I've got archers kind of in a bad spot, but I'm in pretty good positioning. Here we go. Forked and mana burn off in the beginning. Unfortunately, he's already killed one of my units, but I'm doing pretty well. I think. I think I'm fighting pretty smartly. Unfortunately, he's still got those mortars on my Dryad, and it really hurts. My Dryad's already almost dead now, and now I've got a TP. And freaking Rejuve stealing is so annoying. But we traded some units. I'm still at 52 food. He is at 46. I've got the better army, but I don't know. One of the worst things you can do, by the way, is to have your army focusing a water elemental. If he gets a water elemental up in front and your bears are fighting it, he's winning, because he's going to have your army slowed. He's going to have a priest healing the freaking water elemental, and yeah, you can eventually outdamage heal, but you've wasted 15 seconds of fighting his biggest tank. Every single one of his units does not tank, any unit in his entire army does not tank as well as a water elemental. This is why you need 3 Dryads with Abolish, autocast turned off, that you run in there, B-click, 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 and then run them back. And just knock out these freaking water elementals. Because if you can do that, you'll be doing extremely well with your bears against the rest of his army. You make sure you have Roar on, you get that, upgrade thing so that you can cast Roar while they're in bear form. And you just use that constantly. Anytime he spell steals it and you have less than half your army, Roar, cast it again. And, you'll be in really good shape. So I've decided to put up an expansion because I thought, hey, I've got the advantage in this game. I creep jacked him. He had to run away from it. We had a decent fight. I had to TP out, but we're still okay. He still doesn't have a TP, but he's gonna pick off his bear because of freaking Stormbolt. Nothing I can do to it. Yes, I could have staffed, but I wasn't anywhere close. But Night Elf doesn't have a Stormbolt. I think that's too bad. Anyway, but here we go. He again gets the freaking Rejuve on. And even though Fork Lightning had his Archmage, he's back up to full because of a freaking Spellbreaker. Anyways. But you can see now I've got a good fight because he doesn't have any water metals in front, as I was talking about. I just knocked out a freaking rifle or breaker or something. I think he might have killed an archer. But you can see he can't fight me and win. He's got to run away. I've got 58 food and an expansion coming up now. Now I should keep my bears in front. I'm retarded right here. Here we go. Yeah, I move my army around so I can get the bears in front. Mana burn the MK, make sure he cannot dominate me with Stormbolt and stuff. And here we go. I'm going to keep the fight on. Unfortunately, my archers are blocking off my bears, so I can't actually freaking... There we go, but I kill a Sork. But yeah, I hurt my own positioning by getting the Sorks in there. If I got the bears all to line up, I would have been fine. But, that was an accident. Now here I should come up. I should get Roar on my stuff and move on. Get the Ancient of Wind, because I'm thinking he's going Chimes pretty soon. Because I don't see a big army, right? I think he's going to... Or rather, I just see a lot of casters for the most part. There's no rifles. Well, now there is one, but there wasn't before. And I like how his Sorks were focusing his Mortar. That was pretty sweet. I was saying, but before this point, though, he had mostly just mass casters, which Fairy Dragons are great against. I can dispel his water metals with Dryads. Now, the Mortars are pretty tough. But for the most part, anytime, or usually, or in my past experiences, anytime I saw Mortars, it was Tier 3. They were going for Tier 3 Mortars, because those things freaking own. In this case, it wasn't true yet. He's still going Mass Tier 2, but it was, that was what was going on. I was thinking he's getting Tier 3. He's getting Mass Caster. Not only do I want to have Fairy Dragons, but I want Chimes. And now I haven't put these units on gold at my expansion, which is really unfortunate. I have about 600 more gold right now, and probably would have just won the game that much easier. But you can see I'm making some FDs. I've got 2 coming out right now. I finally put them on gold. A little late, but better late than never. But you can see, that, I'm trying to keep good positioning, and for the most part, it's working out pretty well. I usually have good positioning going on when we're fighting. I've usually got the bears in front, and that's usually what he's counting on, is actually for me to to have bears in a bad spot. He's usually counting on me to not have good positioning. And that's what slow can get for you, is you slow an archer. That's going to be in front. That's a free kill. And Stormbolt gives you kills. At this point, now I'm going to get 2 bear zone because I'm freaking stupid. And you can just see sort of what this and now I'm fighting some creeps. So this is just really, really bad. And I'm just like, I have to TP out of this. I'm sure he's fighting up a hill, but I don't have any bears left. My archers are in back. He kills another archer. I just got to get out of there. And that's what creep jacks can do. They can just turn a game around for you. And really, while I'd love to just be massing dryads against his army, because he's got mostly just casters. He's always got water metals in front. He's got an MK that can't do anything to dryads. He's only got just a few rifles, but those mortars just completely preclude me from getting a lot of dryads. What I really want here. So he's sort of forcing a caster versus bear fight, but getting a couple morts. And also the threat of frag shard morts just scares the living s out of me, because I definitely cannot do anything. I can't make dryads versus frag shard mortars. They just get dominated so hard. And he gets a freaking Infernal Stone. And, that's what I was talking about earlier, about getting positioning and getting unit ganks. Those 2 slowed bears, I don't even know if they were slowed or not, but, those 2 bears, that he killed, I would have been happy to fight him if he hadn't have picked off those bears with Stormbolt and slow and everything, But, by getting those kills, I was in such a horrible position. Sure, he's fighting up a ramp, and if I had had those 2 bears, I would have been happy to fight him and probably would have won it. But man, that destroyed me. And now I'm gonna try to. I have 1 dryad up in front that's gonna slow down this breaker, so I can kill the breaker. It's pretty sweet. And he still has no TP, but he's making his expo and all that. And let's see, do I have a TP? Yes, I do. Okay. So now I'm just gonna go fight his army. I don't know that he's coming right after me up and back here, but he's coming up, and I'm gonna see that pretty soon and be like, oh crap. So instead, I'm just going to run up inside his base, try to keep the ledge for myself, kill a shop because it's the first thing that I saw, and then I need to move my army to the back. I need to get new positioning. So I'm going to pull everything back. I need to pull the bears up to the front. I could fight, and yes, I'm going to go fight. I'm going to bring the FDs up, and I'm going to use freaking, oh yeah, and I pressed the wrong hotkey. I pressed, what's it called? God damn it. I pressed phase shift instead of fairy dragon form. But here we go, finally get that going on. Unfortunately, it's mostly just his priests that are taking any damage here. He runs his militia back, and now he's just focusing them off with rifles. So that was a mistake there, getting the wrong hotkey. But you can see how quick these FDs just die. I mean, he's got, 3 rifles, a couple water metals, and his archmage, but those fairy dragons just drop, That pretty much sucks. So I'm down to 50 food already. He's got 58, or 57, but, whatever. And an expansion almost up. I've got mine running, so that's pretty good. But, I'm behind. I don't have any lumber, unfortunately, so I'm getting some chimes because, I figure that's a good counter to mortars, right? He's massing out a lot of sort of units that are susceptible to Chimera. He's only got a few rifles, which I noticed that he had a very small number of them. His Infernal is going to be really, really hard to get rid of, but, whatever. I've got to camp in my base. I've got to heal up. He's got much higher heroes than me. I know he's got an expansion up. So he's up to 58 of 66, and I'm at 62. I've still got a bigger army, but if we were to fight, it'd be really freaking tough. If I had gotten those FDs to morph sooner, that would have been really helpful too. I would have gotten a lot of damage on the Sork stuff because he hadn't slowed me just yet when they were up there. So that was unfortunate. But anyway, he's got 2 frost armored heroes. And he's going to get a new item. I think he's going to get, I don't remember. What do you get? Oh yeah, animate dead. So he could, revive my bears against me. Okay, so now I noticed that he had the Infernal, and I figured, he just crept out the top left camp, because I saw he was coming from the left as opposed to the bottom, so I was like, he just crept that out. Let's go kill an Expo. And, well, he has a TP, and he should have used it when I go after it. I don't think he's going to. Or he's going to use it too late, one of the two. Anyway, yeah, I've got, 1/1 bears, and of course Chimera as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bears, 7 bears, and a Chimera. That's all I've got. I don't have anything else as part of my army. But at least I'm able to macro really quickly because of Anyways, he decides not to TP. I don't know why he didn't want to TP. He could have just dominated my army, but apparently he didn't want to. Either way, though, he's going to come up. and try to kill my base. And he's going to do pretty well at it, actually. But I'm going to group up. I'm going to TP, because I don't want to lose. He actually pulled back before I TP'd. I could have actually TP'd right on top of his army right here at my expo, but I wasn't watching, and, you know, that died. I was trying to get Nature's Blessing out my expo. Obviously, that's not going to work out too well. And the expo just drops, and I've got to come and try to get in there and deal some damage. I'm just, yep, mass detonate on some of the wisps if I can. Then I realized that, hey, I'm not in that bad of shape. And here we go. The DH down to 18 hit points and gets back. So anyway, I've got Roid Chimera now. I'm just going to try to... now, it's kind of stupid, but I was focusing on the rifles, but now I'm not anymore because that's a pretty bad idea. Luckily, his Infernal's about to time out, which saves me so much because I wouldn't have had a chance in this game if his Infernal was still there. But he pops the scroll. I'm trying to focus his MK as best I can. Luckily, his MK was blocked off, and I'm going to kill that mofo because he's freaking annoying. But now you can see I've got good positioning. He has no more front line. You know, his WEs weren't up in time. You know, I got rid of the morts. That's pretty useful. And that Sork lived. It shouldn't have, because the Chimera was hitting it as it TP'd. Whatever. But we traded expansions. I'm at 51 food. He's at 45. Chimera are freaking awesome. They're very useful. If he's not spamming the crap out of rifles and he doesn't have polymorph, this works. So this whole time I actually thought he had tier 3, you know, all this crap. He didn't, but this whole time I thought he did. But anyways, I'm going to uproot and go, get an expansion, because I need it. Meanwhile, I had this archer that was checking out what he was doing, and sure enough, here's his mining operation. I was gonna hide, but I realized that flying machines have true sight, so I instantly just ran the heck away. And he apparently isn't interested in chasing me too much. Actually, no, he is chasing me. Just kidding. Yeah, that's gonna die. No, he leaves it at 8 hit points. Probably because I was arriving. I was showing up at his base, or by his expo, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I'm just trying to make sure he doesn't kill my expansion while it's under construction. I need to make sure I don't get mass owned. And at this point, I'm going to kill a freaking flying machine because they're annoying and they're good against... Well, they're decent against Chimera. They're not great, but that's the only thing he's got right now. He didn't have any money to really put up the Griffin Aviary and all that, so instead he just got a couple flying machines. And they work pretty well, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. He's getting his MK back, and Chimera are freaking pretty good against peasants. Who would have thought, At this point, I'm still scared of his army because... Now, I shouldn't have been, because he doesn't have his MK yet, but I wasn't thinking about that. I should have just fought him and taken control, but you can see he was running away anyway. Couldn't have chased too much. And I was just a little bit scared of his flying machines, because I didn't have any good anti-air. Staff the Archer back to heal it up. I need some extra anti-air. And Tree of Eternity, rooting now. So now I'm saying, okay, I'm just going to take control over your little expansion spot and make sure you don't get to mine from it. Now, what I should have done is crept to level 5, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was just thinking about making sure I don't get decimated, pretty much. So I re-roar my Chimera. I want to make sure they're doing maximum damage, because they're freaking, he's only got limited anti-air, which is lucky for me. Luckily, Chimera can just about insta-jib a water mental in one volley. But right now, I've got such weak anti-air. I need to be really careful of it, but, now that he's got his MK back, now it's going to be tough. Yeah, I focus it so that stops the clarity, but here we go, He comes after the Naga, and staff at 23 hit points. Thank you. Thank you, 16 ping. However, you can notice he still picks off an archer, and he's still going after this Chimera, which is probably going to die, because I don't have anti-air until my Naga comes back. Nothing I can do about it. So while they're not doing tons of damage, they can chase forever. Nothing I can do about that. So instead, the Naga has to come up and try to deal with one of these flying machines. And yeah, I slow one down, but I don't kill it. Luckily for me, his MK has no mana, or I'd be dead. But he's still going to kill a couple bears, because, look, with slow, I cannot do anything to it. In the case of Dryads, you have to actually, choose your target, hit one, stop, hit another one, and pray that it stays in range, but... Yeah, okay, so he pops healing on his MK, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do to win this, because I'm not, in really good shape yet. He kills another one. I'm going to lose all my Chimera, right away, and indeed, yeah, they just pop. And really, they were slow. There's not a lot I could do about them anyway, but, got to do what I can. His MK at 141 hit points. And slow just is so